What do you think it is about Melee that like makes the content that comes out of Melee like so well thought out and like such great content comes out of Melee? Like I guess like not even talking about the Smash Dog, but like Awesome Sauce and like Walt and Melee Stats. Like they make these like crazy thought out documentaries about stuff that like I don't see a lot in other esports. And
I think it's just two things. I think we're the same game. So 20 years, I imagine just think of like your favorite TV show or anime.
Yeah.
And imagine it's 20 seasons. Now, there's some good in there, some bad, but at the end of the day, it's like part of the history. You can be like, yeah, remember season 7, whatever. Like with Melee, you can do that. And it's not like I know in COD, you guys always move to the new one.
Yeah.
So it's like you guys.
It's the biggest downfall of our.
Yeah. So imagine if you can only play like the best one forever.
Yeah.
And that was just it. So I think we have that. I think only like Brood War is one of the only ones I think that like StarCraft 2 came out, but they just said no, we're playing Brood War.
Okay.
And I think Melee is like Counter-Strike moves on, you guys move on, like every Street Fighter, every game I can think of, they move on to the new one, except probably like some, low-key communities out there still fighting the good fight, but it's like, so that's why I think we can make like crazy detailed documentaries about everything because it's just history. And then I think our game is like so peculiar and like little frame data bullshit that like nerds eat up. So it's like you can just put this one situation and been like he whiffed by this many frames. And like people love shit like that. So it's like
for sure,
you're just able to like I think a combo of those two, like you can put content out that like people love.
Yeah. Do you ever watch any of that or?
I watch on stream.
Like on stream and stuff?
Yeah. It's fun to watch. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, those guys work really hard on it. I think the two that stand out for me is the breakdown of what happened with Johnny and Abate, of course. That was
the B thing.
Yeah,
the big house.
That was like the craziest thing ever. And then, do you ever see the Michael vs. Bananas thing? I think that's what it's called. It's like this Puff player and this.
Where they just cheese.
Nobody
does anything.
No one does anything.
Yeah.
And
that's a good video. I've seen that.
Yeah, it's just I thought it was interesting because it just explains like it's a great way of explaining like what Melee is. Because if people wanted to, you could play Melee horribly for the spectator.
Well, Melee I think is such a personality check, and you can be the lamest fuck.
Yeah.
Or you can be just badass and rock out, but it's like.
Yeah.
And I think in Melee, if you play really lame, it's always been like I've been playing like Street Fighter recently, and they're very like, I'm lame, fuck you, deal with it. They're very, and I like it. They're like, this is like, you complain about it, it's just like, well, you can't beat it, so it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, win at all costs.
They're very, the FGC's like that, and I kind of like it. They're just like, stop bitching, like you can't.
Yeah.
But Melee's like, I think because. I don't know. Our game, something about Melee is it's like so free flowing that like, and we used to play for like first place is like $40, and like you see how lame. I'm sure anyone who's ever watched Melee, I'm sure you've seen some shit where you're like, why is he doing that? Like nothing's happening. Like in the video you mentioned.
Yeah. They're not even touching each other.
So it's like, why are you playing this game that can be played so many different ways like this? So I think our community's always been very like what are you doing?
Yeah, it's the only. I mean, you can't. Obviously, people play to win, but you don't play lame to win. You don't sit in the corner. And I've just always like respected it. I think that's why people like Melee so much. It's just unlike. I try to explain it to my COD friends. It's impossible to explain to people that don't really understand.
Yeah, it's just like, well, yeah, he's winning, but it's like because you can be so expressive and like interactive with each other. So the second you're not interacting, to me, like I think there's a difference between playing lame and just playing smart and like defensive. You can play smart and defensive as long as like if I'm here and you're here and we're just like shuffling like, in this little zone, like that's fine. You can never approach, but as long as you are playing around me. But if I'm here and you're just over here, it's like
like pounding off stage.
Yeah, I think then it gets like what are we doing? Like
right, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a fine line.
When it comes to esports, you're kind of an anomaly of how long you've been playing, and many people have come and gone, especially controller style esports like Melee. And a lot of people retire because they think there's an age gap because of physical restraints. But you play the most technical game on controller. Mm-hmm. And you're still going at, what do you say, 34? 32? 32. What do you say to people like, is Clay, your best friend, your future husband, Clayster?
Love Clay.
He's gonna retire pretty soon.
How old is he?
30.
Okay, he's
31.
Reaching his time.
And he's going to retire, and he's going to say what a lot of other people have said, what in COD, which is, I can't do it. My hands can't do it anymore. Because our game used to be you hit the L trigger and you aim, and then you hit the right trigger. And now it's you hit 90
Kids are going crazy, right?
Yeah, you slide cancel, and you dive, and you do all these other things. And they're like, my hands can't take it anymore. And me, having watched your esport for so long, I'm just like, yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. Like when you won SmashCon, I was like, he's 31 and just won Smash Con,
yeah.
and like you guys are retiring at 26 because your hands hurt. What do you say about that? I want to know your opinion.
I mean, I think it's bullshit for the most part, but
cheers.
I think everyone's hands are different. Like I know some people have played and they're like their hands just hurt. But I think like the real reason it's like you don't your hand. It's like as you get older, I think you lose motivation to play. Like someone like Clayster, like he's 30, world champion. Like at some point you're like
handsome, high. You can keep going.
Funny,
great guy,
talented, great.
Cool, that's fun.
Smoke 2 cigarettes, like
not
the whole
3
package.
though.
Not 3.
Not 3.
But I think at some point you just lose motive. You like make your money. It's just like at some point I think there's a dog in you, and that dog just
that's been your year, yeah.
It just gets quiet, like, and I think like I think that's fine, like, because I think people don't realize. Well, I mean, this podcast might realize just what goes into like winning, and more like it's not even like the grinding of the game. It's the wanting to grind the game, the wanting to win, the wanting to be the best. Like that's the part that takes a toll on you. And then I think the easy is like I'm getting old, like I can't do it anymore. But it's really I think most of the time like I'm just not as motivated as I was 10 years ago.
For sure.
Which I think is like totally fair. I think you're allowed to feel that way.